Good morning, everybody. Lee Brower here, and welcome to this week's edition of Meaningful Monday. Yes, I am glad to be here, and I am grateful to be here. And where am I? I'm in a new home, a new office in a new home. And I am so grateful for that. Our address changed by one number, one digit. It went from 1379 to 1378. Yes, right across the street. I had no intention, nor did I have the energy with everything that was going on to even think about it, but Lori, with her vision and her vision of the future and her inspiration, took the bull by the horns, and here we are. And I'm so grateful to her because the flow and the spirit of the place here is divine. It's just so much better, and I really, really enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to a future here in this home. You know, recently I was exposed to John Dickerson, who's a CBS correspondent that focuses in on the president. He focuses on all the presidents. That seems to be his niche. And he wrote a book called The Hardest Job in the World, which is about being president of the United States. And in particular, I was interested in his comments around President Eisenhower. Now, President Eisenhower was a general for most of his life. So, so I think of general and military being boom, 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 boom. But at the same time, understanding priorities and essentials. I want you to listen carefully at a couple nuggets that came from President Eisenhower. First of all, in terms of priorities, it's rumored to say that when an aide brought him early on, handed him an envelope that had not been opened, and he shunned it away, took it away. He said, "No, I am never going to go through something. I should never have to open up something that hasn't been screened first to see if it deserves my attention." Or take one of his famous precepts was that urgent matters should not crowd out the important ones. And he was able to understand priorities. And red R, green R, for example. If he was angry with someone, he paused, he wrote down that person's name, discarded it into a drawer, and then he was over the anger. A system to allow him to go through that process and move from red R, reaction, to green R, which is responding. But one of his favorite precepts, famous precepts might be a better word for it, was that the urgent matters should never crowd out the important ones. A little bit like when we talk about don't let the essential be at the mercy of those things that are very important. What if we said don't let the essential be at the mercy of those things that are urgent? Sometimes we have a tendency to drift into doing other things, and our urgency shows up. Like, let's say that your parking meter, is expiring. That's urgent, but not important. Let's say another example might be, let's say you're going to get your physical examination. That's important, but not urgent. And what you're really looking for are those things that are urgent and important, or important and urgent. Those are what you look for. So his matrix looks something like this. So I wrote it down. Hopefully you can see this. But so the Eisenhower matrix is urgent and important up in the upper right hand, not urgent but important, the upper left hand. So urgent and important is up in the upper left hand. The northwest corner, urgent and important. The northeast corner is not urgent but important. The southwest is urgent but not important. And the southeast is neither urgent nor important. You get it? Okay, hopefully you get it. So I'm excited about this. I really am excited about this. It's going to have some applications. Now think about, presidents. Presidential time is probably the most valuable time on the planet. But your time, for you, your time, my time, is the most valuable time on the planet. And as a president, to make choices, a president must be ruthless in setting priorities and maintaining them. Are you ruthless? Am I ruthless in setting priorities and maintaining them? I'm going to take this metrics now. I'm going to lay it over my to-dos. I'm going to lay it over my to-do list. and start asking the question, is this urgent? If it's urgent, is it also important? Is it urgent and not important? Then it's going to move down the list. Urgent and important is going to move up to the list. And so I'm going to look at those in terms of those four things and how we're doing it. But you know, a president must be ruthless in setting priorities and maintaining them, or what? Imagine walking in unprepared or delaying vital action because you're not ready. You weren't focused on the essential, or you weren't focused on what mattered most. You got caught up with the urgent. So can candidates focus on what's important but not urgent? So we have an opportunity to look at all of our candidates at the various, there's an election that's coming up, like preparing for a pandemic or a cyber attack. That's very important. Maybe not urgent, but important. Or doing the behind the scenes work of building an organization that will operate smoothly when the crisis hits. Something for us to think about. Something for us to think about. Candidates give in to this urgent and important mindset, and as a result, they promise sweeping action on every item on the list. But what can they really do? All right, let's forget election for a second. Just focus on us. How can we prioritize much better? I hope this is helpful for you to share these insights from President Eisenhower. Take the metrics that I showed. Hopefully you'll copy it down and apply it. Or make a variation of it to apply for yourself. But it's taking that extra step. Will you join me next week? Because next week I'm going to talk to you about my once-a-year video and what I'm going to do this month to improve that. It's the video to myself. I look forward to talking to you next week. Have a meaningful week. Have a meaningful and important week with your essential. I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.